The whole Liam Kumar Day effect, not really happening.
Nigel couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I rang up Mendenhall, he said he could make it.
Don't think this whole... Phil, credit to the guy, always manages to do well what he has, but he is a shocking person on that. You guys got a trophy? No.
It was pre-event.
No, my life from Rashad Mendenhall.
Right, you guys, I'm a tag jack! I'm a fucking tag!
Hello and welcome to the final edition of the Preseason LOC Report. This is the last episode of the preseason, and then we are officially into regular season LOC Report. And of course, I'm joined again by a very shocked to hear that Chris Leach.
I know, I am. That's it. The time has cracked on. I just can't quite believe it. I mean, I can't quite believe the season's like 17 days away. Let's go with 17 days away.
It's not long off that. So ordinarily our draft would have been the 5th effectively. So first Thursday after that would have been the 10th. So yeah, around 17 days away. Yeah, 14 days actually. 14. It's 2 weeks tomorrow. Yeah.
15, 14 and a half, whatever it is. I don't know. It is crazy, and yeah, it doesn't seem that long ago that the season finished, and obviously between then and now,
a lot's
all
happened.
Sorts of chaos has happened. So.
What segment do we usually cover chaos in, Chris?
Well, I mean, it's the single feature league news.
You got it. It's the chink. So yes, the division aligning event did happen this year. It did not get completely COVIDed away, and we'll be recapping that for you in just a second, as that is the topic of today's show, as well as the schedule reveal. But of course, for the final time until springtime next year, we remind you that the draft is on Saturday, the 29th of August.
If you don't know that by now, I said, one, where have you been for the last, those 10 weeks in my meetings? And secondly, are you really that bothered? Because I am. I'm looking forward to that. I really am. You know, it's seriously, I'm on the hype train for this draft this year. But it has to be front and centre of what you're doing on that Saturday. Surely, there's nothing else that you could be doing.
Well, we've got a football game in the morning, but other than that, agreed.
Oh, not at 2:30 though. I hope.
No, yeah, we don't like that. Yeah, we should have pretty much a full attendance. Like I say, Phil said he would join for at least the first few rounds. Ross is probably the only one that will be on auto draft, but he may be able to do some picks from where he is. So, yes, looking like it will be our best attended draft for a few years. And Saturday at 2:30 p.m. I will start sending the link out probably around 2:15 so that we can get away as soon as possible. So, and then of course this time next week we'll be with you with the draft recap. And we might just leave it at that because we can do the week 1 preview the week after, so we don't need to peak too early.
No.
Yeah. So, in terms of other news, most of you have paid your subs, so thank you. The last people left who haven't are Phil and Pat, which I find quite funny because you think they would be in a relentless competition with one another to beat each other to pay subs. Yet they both seem quite content with.
They just don't. I mean, Phil isn't going to be able to pay you in the right currency. So I'm not even sure what the New Zealand dollar is in comparison.
No, not a clue. Don't. Yeah.
To the pound, but he'll be paying you. He's paying like 400 quid probably. And Pat, well, I mean, as we can all told from Saturday, Pat has spent almost all his money on some hair dye. I mean, he's out of it now. He's got to keep up appearances. So
It's true. No money left for fancy league subs, but hey, that's fine for all of us because that means we get some higher draft picks than they do because they don't make that pick until we get that subs fee.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, say all is well for everyone else except them. So.
Yep, basically. So no other news. Some real life NFL news. We had, other than COVID related stuff, we haven't really covered off real life NFL news this off season. But given it is pertinent to the draft coming up, apparently, literal breaking news. Don't even know what the injury is, but David Montgomery has been carted off the field in Chicago. So.
That's bad news.
Yes.
Because there's going to be a lot of people. I mean, this is why we schedule drafts close to the season.
Yes.
For such reasons. But
exactly.
Yeah, he would have been one, especially in the mid rounds. That I think a lot of people would have targeted or certainly taken.
Yes, definitely.
Up to now. So that's pretty bad. Can we just talk about the ongoing saga at the Baltimore Ravens just quickly?
What saga would that be? Oh, Thomas, you mean?
This is the old Thomas saga. Which, to be fair, has been brewing for some time. But that defense is pretty mean anyway, and it certainly will hold up even with him not there. But I mean, he gives that team a bit of an edge, really. That obviously isn't there, and it's crazy that they want to send him away from camp and release him.
They already have. He's gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it. This close to the start of the season, so whatever has happened there must have happened either pretty quickly and pretty badly.
Yeah, so he punched a teammate, basically, and but you are correct in what you said. Is usually that kind of stuff happens. You do get bust ups in training camp, but that there was some scuttlebutt that he either didn't go to meetings or didn't get on with some of the coaches particularly well or things of that nature. A surprising thing from a player that when he injured himself flipped off the entire sideline for his previous team. Didn't see that one coming at all. But yeah, that's just where we are in the world right now, I guess.
Yes, it's but hey, I'm sure he'll land somewhere and chaos will ensue. So
yeah, well, I guess the Ravens could only deal with one basket case since they've rumoured to be interested in Antonio Brown as well. So I think that team would just collapse into a pitless void if they had both of them. So
could be very interesting.
But moving on to something a bit more positive. Division line event actually happened this weekend. The closest one we've had to the season. Usually they are a July or even June affair, I think. And it was, of course, your division line event. Chris is the current champion, and for everyone attended except my dad, who got woken up in the middle of the night, and I walked in and he was asleep when we were starting. So other than that, full attendance. We'll let him off. Full attendance, even from Phil in New Zealand, which was a good effort on his part, and a very good event, Chris, if I do say so myself.
Well, I'm pleased that on one hand that everyone enjoyed it, which was good. I got some decent feedback, but the second time, on the other hand to that, for a long time we didn't expect to be doing anything. So to have done something is better than nothing at all. It allows everyone to stay pretty much where they were in the world without having to meet in a central location, which was the first time that had happened.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, everyone's got to find a way of responding to this, and I'm glad that we did. Even us, it's a small scale fantasy football. We found a way. So yeah, I'm really pleased that we were all able to participate. And so a couple of hours out the day on otherwise a pretty boring rainy Sunday, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit dreary, but it was nice to get out because it looked like for a long time that any event we had would have been something home virtually or whatever we had to. So you struck a good balance, and obviously it helps doing it a bit later when we did, where we are able to go out a bit more freely now. And even then, I didn't really bump into anyone. Granted, I was driving and whatnot, but no, it was a really good event, all things considered, especially this year. And I think effectively would have been as fun as it would have been had we done it maybe in London or somewhere else where you wanted us to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we probably would have been a little bit longer and maybe a few more extra things to find. But you know, if that's the introduction for people to get into it and want to do something similar next year, perhaps, then I've got the ideas.
Exactly.
You never know. But yeah, that's it. It's good to be able to do something a little bit different every time, and yeah, especially when people can stay at home and not have to really impact their weekends.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the things we had to find, it was a good list of things. So we started off just a picture of yourself in a face mask was the warm up. Did that actually count? I wasn't sure if it did. It did. Yeah, so there you go. But then after that we had I think it was mailbox. Then I believe it was a picture of a religious building, like a church or mosque or whatever. Then an ATM. We had some VAR involved on that one on my part. After that, then I think it was a sports apparatus, so like a goal. Ollie Gardner posted a hockey stick, I think. Then we had, I think it was a statue after that, wasn't it? The list goes on. Fiat 500 was one of the challenges, which is pretty convenient for me given I was right next to the Fiat garage at the time.
That was ideal. Couldn't have been any better, really, could it?
No. A picture of a body of water was another one. We had a picture of Corona, either in a pub or the packaging in a shop. So it was a good array of things. But a picture of the nearest train station or underground or whatever, and then picture of the road sign that you live in. So we had the full gamut. It was a good list. It got people getting around, and some people were very good at it. I have to say, we'll come to the results in a second, but I was astounded by the speed of some people getting the thing.
I'd say, yeah. I mean, there are clearly some people who have done something like this before. I mean, I guess it helped in the challenge we did a little bit last year, and certainly the year before that. So it wasn't Ollie's first time doing these things. But I mean, just by looking at the results, I think everybody got one win. In terms of fastest, except Mike, who didn't.
But he didn't come last, though, did he? So.
He didn't come last. No, he did not.
No, yeah. And you mentioned Ollie was the winner, which, again, I'm even more astounded by, considering we were both doing the same challenge from the same area. Yet the speed he was able to post things. We live in a fairly populous area. That there's stuff around, but compared to Ben, who's obviously in London, or Viv, who's basically in the middle of Bristol, you would expect those guys, to be fairly quick. Okay, they're on foot, whereas we obviously have our vehicles, but there's a lot more around them. But this area, I don't know how Ollie did the thing so quickly. It was like he had foresight for whatever you were going to say next.
It was luck, pure luck. You see, you got to be in the right place at the right time. Some things quite knitted quite well together, but I tried to make things, such as a body of water and green space and park bench or whatever. Far enough
forgot about that one.
So you wouldn't quite as easy. So yeah, it's it took a little bit of thought. I mean, not as much thought as the one a couple of years ago, but it's definitely one that we could do again. That's for sure. So and it gets you exploring your local area. Sometimes
exactly.
Post boxes or your nearest body of water or whatever, but now you do. So.
Exactly, and we compare it to obviously the ones we've had you ran previously, even where the point structure was pretty. There was lots of things you could get, but then there was lots of modifiers and combos and etc. 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 So it was actually quite nice to have a bit more of a streamlined. This is it. First one gets that, and then it's a race. So two different things, both of them good, because the other one obviously you had to sit down and figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? What do we want to go for? You could do different things, but this one obviously it was one central thing, but it was all about speed.
Yeah, like I said, that was absolutely the idea. Yeah, I think whenever you're in a race with someone, it's always a little bit more competitive. I think when you're in, you're trying to compete for as many points as possible, perhaps when you're doing the one in the opposite format, and you don't really know where anybody is or what they're doing. But this one's a bit more social. And yeah, it's one that you can do all together, being in the same place at the same time. That's the beauty. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So a good event, as we said. Ollie won. We should probably actually recap how the divisions came to be before we revealed the divisions. So Ollie won. Viv came second. I can probably bring up the other standings quickly here. Here we go. LOC group chat. Can't be too far up, hopefully. So we had further up than I thought. Okay, Ollie B won with 123. Viv was second with 113. Ben came third with 100, Ollie Gardner 95 in fourth, Tom was fifth with 87, Mike in sixth with 85, tied for seventh, Pat and Phil, of course, with 84. Ninth was Ross and me with 80. And pretty hilarious the final two spots there, because obviously Ross and Pat, the other little twerk of this thing, was that they were doing it together basically, just having a nice day out by the looks of it. They didn't end up finishing on the same points.
They did. I mean, I can say was because a key part of the challenges every time is adding extra points by giving money to charity and stuff like that. So if you're a little bit more generous, should we say, you can get 15 extra points, and Viv was the most generous.
Yes.
And Pat, to be fair to him, that's it. Decided he wanted to donate last minute, which is fine, not a problem with that. But Ross was actually the one and only person who didn't donate anything, so.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it was a little bit skewed. Otherwise, if you took the points as they were without any of the charitable donations, then it would have been 1 point different.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, it pays to donate, people.
Certainly does. We are a charitable bunch here in the LOC.
I think so, it's it, rather than spend money going places and whatever. I think the LOC combined to 5 different charities, and the national lottery. I think we put together. It's got to be what, 80 quid maybe to charity.
Yeah, I think so.
On Sunday, so I think we can be rightly proud of ourselves for that.
Exactly. So after that then, with Ollie as the winner and Viv as the most charitable, as you mentioned, both of those got assigned to a division each. So Ollie's the winner with Southampton. You, as obviously the moderator or host, assigned yourself to Portsmouth, and Viv then assigned to Winchester. Ollie chose Phil. The attempted trolling continues. And with Phil came Pat, we decided, because they tied on points. Viv took Ross, and with Ross came me, as we tied on points, so that was quite neatly done to sort it. And then the rest of it was just random number generator assigned to the remaining 5 people. That is right, isn't it? Remaining 5. Yeah, that's right. And the order it came out was 4 and 3, so that was for the other 2 people to go into the top and the bottom division. That was right, and then the remaining just went in Portsmouth with you. So did you actually have planned how to form the divisions before the event, or was it just?
I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do.
It's fine. It worked. It's fine.
Yeah, I was thinking about it throughout, and I was like, well, that's it. When the points came out just right, because we had 2 ties. So yeah, it was ideal really, and then it couldn't have worked out no better. And, the round number generator in the end was the only way I could really separate everybody. Otherwise, it looked like I was biased. So.
Sure. Yeah, best way to do it, certainly, as you say, if it was pre-stated and whatever, would have been fine. But yes, no, good thinking on your part. And then so we'll just tackle each division at a time now, and then we'll take a look at the schedules, which have now been made. So Southampton division is the Tuckfards, Bedetonators, You Are Gold, and Pakistan. So we've got a number of rivalries in there. We have Ollie versus Phil, Ollie B that is, which is obviously Corona Bowl 5, the rematch there. We have Phil versus Pat, which is probably the most heated rivalry in the LOC. They'll face each other twice. All of these guys will face each other twice a year. So a very venomous division to be in. I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say, plenty of spark.
Yeah, you've also got...
Close to mid-year in this one, so...
Yeah. You've got the Ollie Bowl as well, let's not forget. Not so much a heated rivalry, but it is a bowl in its own right. So quite a lot going on there in that division. Then Portsmouth, we have Bare Necessities, Forge Flyers, Ixan, and Bucking the Trend. This division holds the most Corona Bowls out of all of the others. Southampton has 2, this one has 4 collectively, and Winchester has 3. And again, a very historic division here with 3 founding teams in this one, and the league's newest member. So good luck to Mike.
Stepped up this year, so I know he's been doing his research. I know he's got plenty of time to do so at the moment, so he can sit there all day and do his work, do a little bit of research.
Yeah.
But I would say it's the friendliest division there, because we got
the Friendship Bowl twice a year.
Friendship Bowl, as we know, is the most cordial bowl of them all.
Yep.
The rivalry between Mike and I isn't really a rivalry.
The Waypoint Bowl, though. It's the Waypoint Bowl.
Waypoint Bowl, indeed. And yeah, I mean, throwing your old man in there, who, to be fair to him, it's always a good game with him. So I think that's going to be well balanced. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then finally, we've got the Winchester division, which is me, Viv, Tom, and Ross. So we have the one between me and Tom, Corona Bowl 3 rematch. Obviously, and we've got Viv and Ross as well, a little bit of a rivalry there. Childhood friends as well, one of those. Actually, and me and Tom as well, throw that into there as well. So I think probably quite an interesting division, because all the teams here are ones that can either have a great season or completely bottle it or finish somewhere in between. It is the most unpredictable division I think you could make.
All of them have something to prove as well, because Tom's been off the boil for a couple of years. Viv, he is always there or thereabouts, but then doesn't quite translate over to success. Obviously, we know about your team. Slowly coming back from the dead. And then Ross's team, who did ever so well last year to get to where he did. Hair's breadth of real success, and just needs to find the same sort of thing again this year. I'm a little bit concerned that he's on the auto draft once again, but that's it. You never know what might be thrown up there, depending on what everyone else does. So.
Yeah. Will lightning strike twice is the question there.
Indeed, it certainly worked for him last year. So. Yeah.
And of course we are changing the measure of how we do auto draft this year, which you saw as well. We're now doing it based on ADP. So it'll be interesting to see what that throws out.
Good luck what you get. Yes.
Yeah, because it's interesting. We usually base it off the NFL ranks, which quite frankly some of them are pretty wacky. I think we're all agreed with.
Oh, yeah.
But ADP, it's a lot harder to lie through the ADP, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to see what picks that throws up. Hopefully not too many though. With that, let's just get straight to the schedule reveal. So I have my, I don't know if you'd call it a calculator or my formulae or whatever it is, but to create the schedule, it has been done again for another year. Everything has been thrown in together, and this is what's been spat out. In week 1, we have Gridiron Gang versus Ixan, Tom's Tyrants against Bedednators, Forge Flyers against the Tuckfards, Bucking the Trend against Padistan, Me, Andrew Breeze, or whatever Ross is called at the time, against Your Gold, and Bare Necessities versus the Dream Team. So the very first week is it intra-divisional week? Not players not in your division. So out of division week, let's call it that. Anything highlight you think is particularly popping for week 1?
Well, it's it. We're back to the sharp end again. I have to say that in there I am relishing playing Phil in the first week.
Yes, of course, the rematch of the playoff game, the Brashard Perriman affair. We can probably refer to that one as.
Indeed, absolutely right. I like that. So we've got the 2 youngest teams maybe in the league.
Yep.
They played each other as well.
The Corona Bowl, was it 9 rematch, Tom and Ollie? Corona Bowl 10. Corona Bowl 10, sorry. Yep.
was a good game there. So yeah, absolutely. No, I like the look of that. Those 3 games particularly, the ones that would stand out to me. I think if you were going to pick a marquee matchup, as we do every week, you have to pick the Tom versus Ollie game there. It really is the game of the week for me.
Yeah, and let's not sleep on the name change bowl. I think we can probably anoint that one right down here. Who knows what they will be called by this point?
Who knows?
So that is week 1. The other sad note with the schedule reveal, obviously we love highlighting the Wembley games. There will be none this year, but that is what it is. But hey.
I mean, it's sad, but that's it. One year perhaps that we should all just go and watch it at home.
Exactly. I'm sure by the time the schedule comes around, I can have guests in my house to watch it, albeit at a reasonably distanced locale, maybe. But
if you can't, then that's it. It's we have to throw our doors open to other folk. That's it. I have nearly, very close anyway. We're going to buy a projector.
Ooh.
So, I see it in the winter, just outside, fire pit, projector onto the wall of my house.
I like it.
There you go. If that's socially distanced, that's the reason why.
Yes. And if you would rather sit inside, I'm also always able to stream via a Hangout, a Sky Go on my PC as well. So that's always an option if any of you do want to watch the games. But back to the schedule reveal. Week 2, we have Gridiron Gang against Bucking the Trend, Ixan against Bedednators, Bare Necessities against the Tuck Fards, Yumi and Drew Breeze against Pakistan, Tom Sarrance against You Are Gold, and the Dream Team against the Forge Flyers. So this is another non-divisional week, so playing players outside of your division. Again, anything jump out to you there? Feels a bit like a bit of a, we've had the first week of the season, let's just crack on with it, week 2.
Week 2 never the most interesting one. It's not like that people are moving and shaking in this week either. So you don't really know where you are in week 2 because it only takes one fluky week in week 1 to be able to get past this. But I think probably the game of the week, if just at the moment anyway, if we look between maybe the Ross and Pat game, I like that one.
Yeah,
that's quite a friendly game. Though
Tom brought Ollie Gardner into the league as well, so that's another one you could highlight.
Friendly.
Yeah.
So the game between me and Viv, always friendly. But yeah, it seems a very friendly week. I don't think anyone's got any beef with anybody there, which is going to be quite rare across the course.
yeah, I think you're right there. So moving on to week 3, you mentioned week 2. You're right; it doesn't have too much impetus because you either lost your first week or won it, and then you can win or lose the next one. But week 3, where you're staring, some teams almost always are staring 0-3 in the face. Does become one of those kind of first key weeks of the season.
This is the week, though, Nath. Look at this. I'm just having a scan down here already. There's some absolutely unbelievable games in here.
So this is the first divisional week as well, so a key division week, you could say. Gridiron Gang versus Tom's Tyrants, Corona Ball 3 rematch. Tuck Fards against Bedednators, Corona Ball 5 rematch in that heated rivalry. Pakistan versus You Are Gold, Ixan against Forge Flyers, the Friendship Bowl. Bucking the Trend against Bare Necessities, and then the Dream Team against Ross, which we highlighted as one as well. So, oh no, we may have lost Chris. Live podcasting at its finest, so I will just filibuster until Chris comes back. But you already kind of could tell from Ross's reaction there that this is a popping week. There are 3 recognised bowl games in this week, 3 quite big ones at that. If I had to guess what marquee matchup Chris would have chosen, it probably would have... let's not forget, this is the first time Ixan and Forge Flyers face since the Corona Bowl last year as well, so Tuck Fards v Bedednators is definitely in that conversation, but Ixan and Forge Flyers equally so as well, just for the recency of the impetus of that game. I think Chris is rejoining on a tablet or something. There he is. He's back. Do not underestimate the effort of Chris to podcast. It's bad internet will not get in the way of Chris. Can you hear us, Chris? Well, we'll continue while Chris sets up as I gave you the lowdown on the week 3. So, going on to the week 4, then we have Gridiron Gang against the Dream Team, Pakistan against Bedednators. You are gold against. Oh, you there, Chris? Can you hear me now? I think Chris may have frozen again. Oh no, there he's back. Can you hear us?
I can sort of hear you. I do. It does look like I'm in the Afghan desert. That's it. However, I am here. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there. I'll be honest.
That's
okay.
okay.
A bit of a cutout.
It's fine. Live podcasting. It's what happens.
But we are here. I mean, this is. I seem to have encountered a connection from. Definitely in the 90s somewhere. This is. I feel like going back to an old modem here.
It's okay. We can hear you okay, even if you do look like you're
yeah, that's the key thing.
You do look like you're podcasting from Osama bin Laden's cave.
Mate, that's it. I know. He had better technology than this. So anyway, I'm back. But this is we're on to week 4 now, are we?
Yes, don't worry. I covered off week 3. I anointed you and Ben as the marquee matchup, of course, the Corona Bowl rematch, with Ollie and Ollie Vedette and the Phil being a close second. But week 4, it's another divisional week. I don't think we have any bowl games in week 4, but Pat v Ollie is kind of an interesting one, I suppose. We've got the Waypoint Bowl, as well, in here. Yeah,
well, I say absolutely. It's another one there. I think the double header there of Pat and Ollie. That's I quite like that. And Phil and Ollie one week and Pat and Ollie the next. So that's heavy for him. But yeah, I think that's it again. It's much like week 2. Nothing really to write home about. We're going to get quite a lot of excitement in week 3, I think. So
exactly, this is it's another divisional one, but it's a bit of a hangover from the exciting week 3 divisional schedule. Going on to week 5, then we go back out of the divisions in week 5 as Gridiron Gang take on Pakistan, Ben Hestes take on Bedednators, the Dream Team take on the Tugfards, Ixan against Your Gold, me and Jabriz against Bucking the Trend, and Tom's Tyrants against Forge Flyers.
Yes, that's it. I mean, much the same vein, really. I mean, there are some tough games in there. I would say, I like the matchup with me and Tom. I like the one between Viv and Phil. That's always going to be fun. Then your dad and Ollie again. It's going to get a good game. So yeah, but I think one of the key ones is right at the top there, which is your matchup against Pat, because I think that in years gone by, you both had teams that have been pretty near each other in terms of the standings. Mm-hmm. And by this point, you're going to know where you are, and I think that once again, that can be quite a crucial turning point for one of you at that point of the season. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wouldn't disagree with that at all. Going on to week 6, then we have Ross against me. You are gold against Bedednators, the Ollie Bowl. Pakistan against the Tugfards, the Cunt Bowl, as we know. Ben Hestes against Forge Flyers. Two founding teams going against each other there. Ixan against Bucking the Trend, and Tom's Tyrants against the Dream Team. So it's another divisional week. This one, I think. Yep. But it's got some pop to it again, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and yeah. So again, when you get to week 6, you know who the good teams and the bad teams are at this point. There are some people that will be unassailably ahead. There will be some middling teams, but there will be unfortunately some dead ones. And I think that at this point, it's it when you're up against the opposition that we have these days. It's very difficult to find your way out of such a hole. But none of those matchups there are givens by any means. But
no.
I think the ones that you want to look at, the interesting ones to talk about, and that's the Pat versus Phil.
You can't look past it.
There's so much hate there.
Yeah, indeed. Week 7 then, so approaching the midpoint of the season, we have Gridiron Gang against Detonators, Ixan against the Tuck Farts, Ben Necessities against Palestine, the Dream Team against Your Gold, Ross's team against you, Chris, and Tom's Tyrants against Bucking the Trend, so another out-of-division week in Week 7. Anything jump out to you there?
Honestly, looking at it here, that's it. I think the matchup again between you and Ollie is always spicy. But otherwise, it's, I think there's a lot of reasonably evenly matched teams in there from past form. So I think the bottom there is Tom versus Mike. So it should be an interesting battle this time of the year. But otherwise, it's one of those weeks which doesn't really spark for me.
I quite like the Ignan v Tugfarts game because it's almost a complete opposite of ideology, where Ben has this methodical, statistical,
yes.
All these spreadsheets going on, and Phil could not be more the opposite. And where in season, I think Ben struggles more with those waiver moves. Phil seems to pluck waiver moves out of thin air that work out. So it's always an interesting one, I think, for when those two play each other.
True.
Week 8 then, going into the second half of the season, is the Father-Son Bowl, Gridiron Gang against Bare Necessities, Bucking the Trend play Detonators, Ross's team play Phil, Padistan play Tom's Tyrants, You Are Gold play you, Chris Ford Flies, and Ixam play the Dream Team. So I think, as you probably say, there's probably a bit more of a run-of-the-mill Week 8, but Father Bowl is always one that the LOC likes to look at, Father-Son Bowl.
Absolutely right, and that's the one for me, I think, because again, you're not in the same division this year. We had a couple of them last year, especially when we were at Wembley as well.
Yeah,
those games do have more significance. But yeah, so that isn't the case this year, as you said earlier. You only get one, so make it count.
Yep. It's coming in Week 8, circled on the calendar, on my calendar up there, that's for sure. Week 9 then, we have Gridiron Gang against the Dream Team, Padistan against Detonators, You Are Gold against the Tuck Farts, Bucking the Trend against Forge Flyers, Bare Necessities against Ixan, and Ross's team against Tom's Tyrants. Anything jump out for you there, Chris? I think we're back in the division in Week 9. Yep, we are. Yep.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And we can't be many more weeks of these now. But yeah, so that again, so it's too friendly or not. So that's the game between Mike and I. And so that's going to be a fun one. I say we only had one last year, so let's see it's double that. But you got to think at this point in your division, it is crunch time.
Yeah.
There's a few in there. Look at the Ross v Tom at the bottom there, and then at the top you and Viv. Well, that's it. Yeah, that's a reasonable time to play. Yeah, it's very difficult to predict any of these really.
Without teams
having context in the year, because you say, oh well, I see you can do this and you can do that. Well, you never know who might have a really poor team. But so I always think that the crunch weeks to propel you to the playoffs are always weeks 7, 8, 9, and 10, because not only you've got to get through bye weeks, but you've also got to get through and get those wins that get you to 4, 5, 6 wins or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
To set you up for the rest of the year. Because so we saw that last year. If you break through now, then you're pretty much set for what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely. So then in Week 10, double-digit week, we have the Podcast Bowl, Gridiron Gang against Forge Flyers, the only one of those this year. Yumi and Jabriz against Detonators, Tom's Tyrants against the Tuck Farts, Ixan against Palestine, Bare Necessities against Your Gold, the Bears Bowl, that one is, and Bucking the Trend against the Dream Team.
We might as well forget this, because we know what unlucky matchup's going to be on the pod. It's the top one. we know what the spiciest one's going to be of the week. It's the third one, Tom versus Phil.
Yeah.
So, I have to say that's looking forward to Week 10 already.
Yeah, and as you say, that's getting to the business end of the season, so some good matchups hopefully for there. Going to week 11 then, outside of the divisions, it's Gridiron Gang against Your Gold, Forge Flyers against the Detonators, Bucking the Trend against the Tuckfards, the Dream Team against Pakistan, Ixan against Yumi and Jabriz, and Bare Necessities against Tom's Tyrants.
Yeah, they're just not a weak team in this league anymore. And that's the great thing about it. So there really isn't a weak team in this league. So yeah, you get to this point and say everything's a challenge, and I don't think anybody there will particularly look forward to who they're up against.
No, definitely not. Any team, like you say, any team on their day can perform, and we've seen in some recent years that it does go right down to the wire, and it's still can be completely all to play for in week 11. So. Week 12 then, we have division games again. Gridiron Gang against Ross's team, Bedadnators against Your Gold, the second Ollie Bowl. Pakistan against the Tuckfards, the second Comp Bowl. Bare Necessities against Forge Flyers. Bucking the Trend against Ixan, and Tom's Tyrants against the Dream Team. So key divisional matchup in week 12.
Absolutely, and say, again, if you're getting to week 12 and you're Pat and you're playing Phil at this point, that's it, and there's nothing to play for. Well, it's in for either one of them. That could really turn the tide. But yeah, it's definitely the sharp end here, that's for sure.
Yeah. Then week 13, back outside the divisions, it's Gridiron Gang against the Tuckfards, the Dream Team against Bedetonators, Forge Flyers against Pakistan, Bucking the Trend against You Are Gold, Tom's Tyrants against Ixan, and Yumi and Jabriz against Bare Necessities.
Yeah, well, you got to play Phil at least once, I suppose, and there you get him. But yeah, let's say no soft matchups, and they'd say Tom's Tyrants and Ixan heading it off there too. So yeah, it's a big game.
Yeah, and a very key time of the season. And then finally in week 14, it's Gridiron Gang against Tom's Tyrants, Tuckfards against Bedetonators, You Are Gold against Pakistan, Ixan against Forge Flyers, Bucking the Trend against Bare Necessities, and Yumi and Jabriz against the Dream Team. So I think it was week 3, it's the repeat of the week 3 matchups in the last game of the season.
Pretty much the repeat of week 3 there. I mean, it's a good way to spend the year. That's for sure. But yeah, so I mean, Ben and I ended the year last year in a very different way. So hopefully less to be riding on it come week 14 next year.
Indeed. So that is your schedule reveal. Whether you like your schedule or not, it's out in front of you now, and hopefully lots of games to be played. We obviously hope we'll be able to play the full slate this season. Lots of games to look forward to, and those week 1 games now you know who you're playing, for me obviously I usually struggle against Ben, so I've got to go up against that. For some other things, it's obviously like with yours and Phil's game, it's the rematch of that key playoff game last year. We have, as you said, Bucking the Trend and Pakistan, two of the newer teams looking to get off on the right foot to their season. And it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. So that is it for today's pod. As I say, the next time we'll be coming to, we will be recapping the draft. It's so exciting times of year. It'll be interesting to see if there's anything that happens between our draft and the start of the season, because we usually do draft as late as possible. So who knows what's going to happen in this crazy timeline.
Who knows who might hold out? Who knows who might get injured in the next week? Well, 3 days. So yeah, it matters now more than ever not to fall into the trap of drafting someone like that. So yeah, do your research, and we'll see you on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, indeed. The one positive is no preseason games, so at least that isn't going to screw anyone over. But
no, that's true.
So you said it there best, Chris. Best of luck with your team's draft on Saturday. Hope you have a good rest of your week. And as I said, we'll be back this time next week to, recap the draft. So until then, goodbye.